Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the ZTV. Newcastle is upon us, and I said, "Yo, I need to talk to my homie D-Man from Newcastle, South London's finest, my catch-up brother, D-Man. First and foremost, thank you so much for jumping on the channel. How are you? All good, I hope."
I'm good, man. I'm good. Pleasure to be on, man. So thanks for the invite. It's a long time coming, man. Well overdue, So
Yeah, man.
happy
Yeah,
to be here.
absolutely. So, folks, D-Man's channel is linked in the title. It's going to be linked in the description. Make sure you go over there, hit that subscribe button. He's one of the good ones. He's one of the good Newcastle fans, right? He's not like, like some of them Newcastle guys that come in holding the Carabao Cup trophy, flashing the money, the Saudi, the PIF money. Yeah, there it is over there. It's in the background. But you know what? I know that trophy, it was quite a long time, right? Well, how long ago before the Carabao Cup was it that you guys had your hands on silverware?
It's I think it's 55 years since I can't remember which trophy it was, but it's 70 years. We call it 70 years. Yeah, domestic trophy that. So a very
Woo!
long time. First trophy I've seen in my lifetime, other than the championship trophies that we loved when we got relegated
Yeah,
and come back up.
with
But
my guy Mitrovic, man. I remember that season.
yeah,
He was
what I mean?
banging in goals for
On fire.
fun. I think
But
he set the record, right? I think in the championship, I think the most goals
yeah,
for many at
yeah,
the time.
I think he did. I think he did. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You're right. And then obviously I've seen through relegated twice. We've given away 12-point leads. We've lost back-to-back FA Cup finals, the
yeah,
League Cup final to Man United a few years ago. So
yeah,
yeah, this was a long time coming, man. Got to
yeah.
treasure it
But you know what
while we
though?
can.
You got Newcastle. I mean, obviously Newcastle is a huge club, right? Huge backing. Um, Not quite the kings of the north, but there's some big boys up there, right? You get Sunderland, you get your biggest rival back in the Premier League. We won't
Yeah.
talk about what transpired with that one and Voltamata
We,
and things like that. We won't bring
yeah.
up those kind of memories. But I'm not gonna lie, man. It's nice. It's nice seeing, and this is coming from a Chelsea fan, right? It's nice seeing new money on the block as well, right? Like we got accused of ruining football way back in 2004 and 2003, actually 2003, 2004ish when Roman came and started splashing the cash. And obviously the rules in place now are much more stringent than when our money came, right?
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
think is, I'll be honest with you, I think it's a detriment to the league
Yeah.
in terms of PSR, FFP, and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it from the standpoint of I want Chelsea to go crazy, because I know we'll go crazy regardless, right? Like we spend money, we make money, and all those kind of things. But it for the longest time, it felt like, right, the red cartel just had that
Yeah.
stranglehold on the Prem. And then once we broke through, and then City broke through, and then the TV money exploded, the popularity exploded, right? Not only over here in the US, but also in Asia, and then of course in Africa and things like that. But I wouldn't mind seeing the rules loosened a little bit, so we can see the likes of Newcastle spending money. We can see the likes of Aston Villa, because these are big clubs, right? Like big clubs with big stadiums, with big followers. And the only way for you guys to grow, to get to, and I'm not going to say to get to our level, like we're a
Yeah.
far greater club than you, but in terms of global popularity, right,
Of
is for
course.
you all to be able to attract the best players, to spend the money, to win trophies. But the rules that are currently in place sort of prohibit that. Do you as a Newcastle fan, do you feel that way?
Well, first of all, when you guys first come with Robin first coming with all the money,
Mhm.
I was a big fan of it because I was tired of seeing the same team, Man United, dominate everything and
Yeah,
Arsenal, whatnot. And you lot upset the apple cart, yeah, which
yeah,
was refreshing to see. So I fully backed it. And even when City came in, I enjoyed watching City that started to spend the money and
hmm,
upsetting people, whatnot. So obviously the difficulty that we went through as Newcastle fans with Mike Ashley and that,
yeah.
being very tight with the money. But
Power
one thing
direct.
he did
Yeah.
do, he left the club in good financial standing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So when the takeover happened now, we think, okay, fair enough. Now what people either they don't know or they don't want to admit is that PSR came in to stop Newcastle spending that money. Yeah, because literally once the takeover came, remember the takeover got blocked like I think a year or two, 18 months before.
Yeah.
Right? Finally got approved, and then less than a year later, PSR comes in and stopped us sending the money. And it was basically because of I think it was only you and arguably Man City who weren't against it. Yeah,
Right.
Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United, even
Yeah.
Villa opposed us. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, which is ridiculous. Yeah, so it makes no sense to have the world's richest owners.
Yeah.
But yet they cannot spend their money.
Yeah.
Like the chance of us going bankrupt are slim to none. You know what I mean? So
impossible. Almost impossible.
So what is the problem? You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. We're building slowly but surely.
Yeah.
You know, but we're too nice. Newcastle are too nice. The fans are too nice. The manager's too nice. The club too nice. Bend a few rules, innit? Chelsea do it. With all respect, Chelsea do it. Remember the 8-year contract, the death row contract. You know,
loophole FC over here.
Loophole. Why can't we exercise them? And if they want to change the rules after that, fair enough. But that's what you need to do. Box a bit more clever in it. But
absolutely,
we'll get there.
Absolutely.
But it is frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because the approach that you're forced to take in terms of you have to, right? Because in PSR and FFP, the whole thing is about profit, right? And it's about sustainability, and they don't want to see clubs go into what happened with Portsmouth, right? Get relegated all the way down to League Two, and even sometimes out of the top flight, the top flights in England, and so it forces clubs like Newcastle to really sort of build. I don't want to say sustainably, because sustainable doesn't really apply to you, because you guys have so much money that you're always going to be sustainable as long as your owners stay. I'll just say interested, right? Because you never know. But so you guys you've had to make a lot of moves, right? Like you had to sell Minte, you had to sell Elliot Anderson. And these are players that while you might not have projected or seen or forecasted the rise of like an Elliot Anderson from where he was with you guys, of like squad type player, but coming through, getting minutes, but to now potentially going to be 75-80 million this summer. But you guys, you had to get rid of them in order to generate the money to sign the likes of at the time Voltamot, all those guys that you signed, right? Anthony Gordon from Everton, Harvey Barnes from Leicester, and those kind of guys. Because you've made, a lot of folks were hammering Newcastle last summer, right, for the transfer windows and being rejected by some of the strikers. But I thought you guys made some pretty good purchases, right? Like even though Thiago gave away the penalty, which we'll get into in the Champions League, I think he's been a very good player for you. I think Voltamata is a good player, even though the fit might not be exactly right but that might be more of a managerial thing. But talk about your outgoings and your incomings a little bit over the last couple of years. Like, are there any guys that you've let out the window? I mentioned Anderson, I've mentioned Minte, that you would have. I mean, obviously, you probably would have loved to keep an Anderson, but your midfield's pretty. You've got some ballers in there.
The midfield. Listen, I was one of the people that said, you know what, I wasn't too fussed about losing Elliot Anderson, not because he wasn't a good player, but at the time, maybe it's the way he was managed, because he was played in so many different positions. I didn't know what he was, right? And that he wasn't going to get into this midfield of Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton, because let's be honest, it was touted as the best in the league at the time. Or up there. So he wasn't going to get the game time. So I understand that we made a healthy profit on that as well. I had an issue with losing Minte because we needed a right winger, and he was playing well on loan, and he was unproven. He was playing well, so he didn't get time to prove himself. And let's be honest, he's doing well at Brighton, and every time he plays us, he's got a chip on the shoulder, like because of the way he's handled. You know what I mean? And he's usually quite effective against us.
He is rapid. He is.
If you look at exactly, and we've got Elanga now, so 99% of Newcastle would have swapped the two.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see Elanga play, I can't help but think, what if that was Minte over there? Not only would it have saved you, what was Elanga, like 55, 60 million, maybe all in, but you also, Minte's got a little bit more end product to him, right? A little bit more of a goal threat. He's younger, although Elanga's not too old, but still, that's money that could have been spent in other areas. But
right.
yeah, I hear you, man. I hear. I look at, and you touched on the midfield, right? And we'll get into the games. You know, we'll talk about the preview and stuff like that. But on paper, that's our strongest area. But I fully believe that is Newcastle's strongest area when healthy, right?
Yeah.
You've got power in there. You've got legs in there. You've got, what I miss is a little bit of that nastiness, right? You've got guys that Joe Ellington's not going to pull out of a challenge. Tonali's not going to pull out of a 50-50. And we know Bruno G is as feisty. You know, he might be Brazilian, but he's got that Argentinian bite about him. You know, so yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. But obviously, you know, we're both coming into it off of results in Europe, result that didn't go in our favor. And I would say, or actually, I would kind of leave this up to you. The Barcelona game, right? I watched your game. I thought you were the better team.
Yeah.
I did think it was a penalty at the end. So I thought it was a just call. I understand Thiao's mindset of he's got to make the challenge, but it was a little almost like the Arsenal one where it's a little reckless, but you almost have to call it. But how are you feeling about that? Not only that first leg, but also the tie in general.
Well, to be fair, I think the result, if you'd gone into the game before saying you're going to get a draw, I think a lot of Newcastle fans would have taken it because all they wanted to do is be within a chance going into the second leg, right? Yeah. But the way the game went, I thought if you watch the first time we played them, people forget we should have been 2 or 3 goals up in the first half.
Yeah.
And they ended up beating us 2-1. But
Rashford, right?
Rashford. So it was a similar theme, maybe not as dominant, but we should have taken our chances in that first half to make it more comfortable. And this is the story of our season because we're not clinical enough. And you could go to the fact that we're not playing with a striker up front. Because same time when we played Barcelona the first time, Anthony Gordon was up front again. So
who were the 2 wings in the first one?
Again, the same. It was
Barnes and Elanga.
Barnes on the left and Elanga on the right. It's the same thing. And ironically, the first game, Elanga put 2 great chances across. Built a chance for Gordon and Barnes, and they scuffed it. Had they put them away, Elanga would have been off. He'd be confident. Maybe. But this particular game, what I like the fact is, because usually what tends to happen is Newcastle, especially on these big games, they go all out for the first 30 minutes. Yeah. And then they either die or they sit back and invite pressure.
With this that crowd behind you, St. James's Park behind you, and you get the emotion, and you try to punch them. Yeah, you come out. You're not throwing jabs when you come out. You're coming with the haymaker
on it. But this time, I think we kind of pretty much dominate for the whole game. Really, we were the better team for the whole game. Yes, there were a couple of spells in that, but we created good chances. We put them under pressure. Like we played to our strengths, like our physicality. And we tried to play a bit of football as well. It wasn't just a case of kick it long or sit back and park the bus. We tried to take it to them. I thought we could talk about Lewis Hall all day.
He was phenomenal.
And I'm glad he did it on that stage because now he's getting the attention that he deserves because he's been playing to this level for a long, long time. People forget when Tuchel called him up last season, he was arguably the best left back in the league, but he got injured. So they had to pick Lewis Skelly. So he should be on the plane for the World Cup.
He should be starting. He should be starting. Like we obviously, at Chelsea fans, we know Lewis Hall very well. Yeah. Anytime, and I'll tell you, it's a little annoying because anytime Lewis Hall has a good game, which is very often these days, you hear Chelsea fans, we should have kept him, and he's better than Cucurella, which is debatable, right? And they're 2 different types of fullbacks.
It's hindsight, though, isn't it? It's hindsight.
And we knew those folks that actually, that follow Chelsea closely. We knew that Lewis Hall wanted to leave. We knew that his family was Newcastle fans. He's Newcastle through and through. Yeah. And he wanted an opportunity to play, and he probably had an eye on this World Cup this summer. So it was probably one of those situations. Like it happened, right? You got Lewis Hall on one side, and then you got our other kid on the other side in Livramento. But the problem I think with both of them is just that when they play, they're fantastic, but they're they seem to be picking up knocks and here
Injury
and there.
prone, especially Tino Livramento, very
Yeah.
injury prone. So we got to wrap Lewis Hall in cotton wool to protect from injury and also to keep the vultures away, because they talk about Tino leaving in the summer, and you speak to Newcastle fans, if you get the right money for him, he can go. But Lewis Hall, no. You know what I mean? So I remember Lamine Yamal had 0 successful dribbles for the first time in his Champions League career against Lewis Hall.
Yeah, he locked him up.
He locked him up, and he was going forward as well. Offensively, he was amazing.
Yeah. Which is when you think like Lewis, when I think of Lewis Hall, because we know when Lewis Hall came through at Chelsea, he was primarily like a left-sided midfielder. So we knew he was good on the ball. We knew he was good going forward, but we always had questions about defensively, right? Can he handle right wingers, 1v1 and things like that? But that game versus Yamal, I mean, Yamal is he's arguably the best player in Europe. And he's, I think, unquestionably, without a doubt, the best right winger in the world. So there's no bigger test, and there's no bigger sort of advertisement, like you said, for Lewis Hall to get on the plane to come to the U.S. for the World Cup than locking down Mr. Barcelona, the 19-year-old, 18-year-old, however old. I don't even know how old Yamal is these days.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so good that he seems like he's much more mature behind his years on the pitch. Off the pitch is a completely different.
We won't get into that. But for the rest of the game though, we also hit their post with Harvey Barnes, and then obviously Jolin's put the rebound in. He was offside. Murphy scuffed one, but. When you score like that, first of all, it was a well-worked goal. The 1-2, and a great ball from Murphy. Good finish from Harvey Barnes. But when you score in the 85th minute, I was watching it with a few other Newcastle fans, and I'm saying, listen, you've got the two options here. Do you stick or do you twist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me personally, this is where game management has to come into play. Yeah. You've got the goal. Yeah. You're winning. Yeah. So if it stays like that, there's more pressure. Yes, Barcelona will still be favourites, but there's more pressure on them to get the job done in the Camp Nou.
Absolutely.
Right? So you spoke about Malik Chow and the tackle that he made, but my issue is with Anthony Gordon. Yeah? Because Barcelona are attacking. Yeah. We've won the ball. Tonali's won the ball. He's fed it to Anthony Gordon. He's got multiple options. Willock is coming to support him to run it down the line. He can run it down to make space, to waste time, whatever. But he chooses the most difficult option to spray a pass out to Tonali.
Yeah, he took the risky option.
The risky, and at that time, I know Newcastle fans talking about, the ref played too much time. No, he didn't. It's a minimum of 4 minutes. It's a minimum, and we made a sub. Extra time. So the moment he went through. And also, if you saw the gap that we left in that midfield for Olmo to receive that ball, which time and time again, our midfielders left too open. Yeah. And listen, you could say it's a clumsy challenge for me, Chow, but it's a good fake from Dani Olmo as well.
Oh, yeah. Almost close control, and his feet are some of his best attributes. And he's really good in those situations. And I get it for Thiaw, because it's so close to full-time whistle. The pressure's on. A 1-0 win at St. James's Park. As soon as the ref blows that whistle, St. James's Park is going to explode. The top's going to come off, and it's going to be just absolute pandemonium. Yeah. So I understand that situation, but you're right. It's a lot about you made a good you referenced game management. Do you think? Because most people think of, when they think game management, they think of everything is on the manager, right? Everything's on Eddie Howe. Everything's on Rosenior. But sometimes it's on the players, right? And it's on your senior players. And you made a great point about playing the risky passing instead of just trying to see things out, get a little bit of control, and then just, maybe trying to draw a foul to waste some time and things like that. And so when you say game management, who do you put I don't want to say the blame on, because you were better than them. The result's not the worst result. No. But with game management, who do you think failed you guys most in that situation? And fail's a little harsh, but you think it's more on Eddie Howe or more on the players?
It's a tough one, because us Newcastle fans have seen this time and time again this season. Yeah. So when it starts happening repeatedly, you have to think, what is the manager telling the players? Yeah. However, in this particular instance, I'm going to put it more on the players, simply because you talked about, winning tactical fouls and stuff. We won a foul in injury time, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was like in our half, but to the right hand side. The camera panned to Kieran Trippier, who has been subbed by then. Yeah. And he's telling them, calm down. There's only a couple of minutes left. Run it down the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dan Burn comes over to speak to Tonali, and then our centre backs go bomb into the box. So and it got Trippier saying, "Don't do it." He's saying, "Listen, waste it." You know what I mean? Tonali spams the ball into the box, and we lose it. Like this is what I'm talking about. So I can't say Eddie Howe's telling them with 2 minutes left, go for the second goal. Now, I don't think he would do that. I don't think he would secure the win. Yeah. And then we worry about the second leg afterwards. I think this time it's more on the players.
Yeah.
It's more on the players. You know
you've got some experienced players. Like you said, Tonali is a Euro champion. Joe Ellington's 27, 28, got a lot of games under his belt, right? Got some few caps here and there for Brazil. Yeah, I agree with you too. I think a lot of times the onus of game management gets put too much on the manager, but I think sometimes players have to understand situations, they have to understand scenarios, and they have to know that sometimes you have to make the right play to see out the result. And I think sometimes that's just as much of the onus falls on the captain, whoever is out there, the more experienced players and things like that. Because you're right, it wasn't like it was a Lewis Hall who's still relatively young. It was Tonali who's, relatively speaking, in his prime, got a lot of caps under his belt, not only for you all, not only for Italy, but also for Milan and things like that. So yeah, it was definitely, I looked at Barcelona and banter aside on the catch up and things like that. Over here we're going to break the game down and actually have an adult conversation and things like that, right? I looked at it as there's not many teams that I would say are better suited to exploit Barcelona's high line than Newcastle, right? You've got pace. You've got pace everywhere up front, right? And with different options. You got Barnes on the left who can run in behind. You've got, if you put Gordon at the false nine, he can run in behind. Elanga's rapid. Even Visa, knowing that he's a little, I think he's got a knock, right? Is that why?
I don't know what's going on with him because he's been back on the bench for a few games now.
Yeah.
But I think Eddie Howe kind of called him out for his fitness and stuff. So maybe, yeah.
So you've got the players that can get in behind, and you've got the midfield that can play the pass, that can control it, that can shield it, that are strong and things like that. Plus defensively too, those Barcelona teams, that Real Madrid teams, they don't want to see the physicality that a Newcastle will bring and things like that. So I thought you guys did a great job of kind of playing to your strengths. Yeah, keeping the game tight, right? Because we know what Barcelona has attacking wise, right? Rafinha, Lewandowski, Yamal, Pedri, the fullbacks will get up and down. Hansi Flick will commit numbers forward. So it didn't shock me too much. Although I thought Barcelona would edge it just based off their attacking quality, but I knew you had the capabilities to hurt them. So what do you give me your quick thoughts, and we'll touch on the Chelsea debacle after, but give me your quick thoughts of what do you see and how do you see that second leg playing out at the Camp Nou?
Listen, there's no getting away from it. Barcelona, the heavy favourites. They will be confident going in because, Champions League, you don't lose away from home. You could give yourself every chance in the second leg at home, right? So they're going to be confident. We've got nothing to fear. And also, if you listen to Eddie Howe, he says our season depends on this Champions League tie in it. So we can get to the league after, but this is the important one. So the fact that he said we've got the pace to trouble them. And what gives me more confidence is that we should have our first choice back line against Barcelona this time. So Tilo Livramento, I expect to start.
Yeah.
Howe, Burn, or even Botman, and then you've got Lewis Hall, right? So I don't think we're going to get pulverized. I think we're going to make, as long as we don't concede early, I think we're going to make Barcelona work for their win. Whether or not we can get over the line, listen, I'll be surprised if we do.
Yeah.
But if it's possible, right about now, I think they'll probably have too much for us, but I think it's going to be very close. Another close game. I think they'll probably edge it by a goal.
Do you think Eddie Howe takes the cautious approach of let's sit back, let's be compact, let's be defensively minded for like maybe the first 15, 20 minutes, right? Take the crowd out of it. And then, because you know how those Spanish crowds get, right? Especially Madrid and Barcelona. They're quick to put the pressure on their teams when they're at home and they're not scoring, they're not attacking.
Exactly.
So maybe a little bit of Joe Wellington shenanigans, you know.
I mean, we need to impose ourselves physically and frustrate them like to the first 15, 20 minutes and see what we could do. I don't think you're gonna go hunting for that goal early on because we don't need to score. You know what I mean? I know we probably will have to in the end of the day, but it's not at this present time. We don't have to go gung ho. It's not like we're 2 goals down and we have to go for it to get an early goal to make it interesting and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna try frustrate them. But we're gonna have to be switched on for 90 plus minutes. Like any little slip, and they'll be in. And that wide pitch, that big pitch as well. You know what I mean? It's gonna stretch us. So
that might, but that big pitch also might work to your advantage, right? Because you've got the pace. You know, you've got a lot of pace, and Barcelona has a little bit of pace, but not like you guys. You guys are rapid.
And we're going to try that ball over the top many a time. You know, that slide over. We're going to try it so many times to fit Gordon or Elanga in and whatever. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Before I was a bit apprehensive going into the tie, but I'm actually looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I am too. I'll be honest with you. These are the kind of games that you live for as a club, right? Like if you want to see Newcastle take that next step and be a perennial Champions League type of club, you want to see your team play the best and challenge the best. And it not only is great for the fans, but it's also good for attracting future players and it's good for experience with this group of players and things like that. So when is that game's Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday,
yeah. Because you played Tuesday this week, and then we played Wednesday, so we played Tuesday. So Speaking of us, did you have a chance to watch our game?
Yeah, that's the game I watched. I watched that game. Yeah. It was I don't think you lot played badly. I thought it's the frustrating thing. And even if it was 4-2, I think you're going there with so much confidence in the second. I mean, we'll get to how you're gonna do, but what I actually knew, I thought going into the game that you lot would get something from it, because I think, you've got this rivalry with PSG since the Club World Cup final when you spanked them, and you can go there with no fear, which you did, and PSG haven't been playing that well defensively. They're not as sound. I thought that I was predicted a 2-2. So when it got to 2-2,
that's what I said.
This is it.
It was 2-2 at some point, so technically both of us were right at some point.
But it's just your Achilles heel is your goalkeeper and your defenders, especially your centre backs. You know what I mean? It comes back to haunt you, and it from an outside looking in, it must be frustrating the fact you didn't address those positions in the summer properly. You know what I mean?
Big time.
But yeah, listen, it made for a very entertaining game. And listen, take nothing away from PSG, because some of the goals they scored were quality. You know what I mean? Absolute quality. So, but everyone I know came with it, said you lot played well.
Yeah, they actually. So the crazy part was, I'm not a big fan of advanced metrics and stats and XG and all that stuff, but they had 4 shots to end the game, and they scored on all 4 shots. So they were super clinical and not really high percentage shots or high XG shots. And we were a little bit wasteful, but I will say that that's sort of to be expected, right? We've been very wasteful all season when it comes to the attack, and we know the quality of attacker that PSG has, right? They're bringing on the likes of Kvaratskhelia off the bench. We're bringing on Garnacho and Delap. So it's like the difference, right? They got Dembele, Doué, Barcola, those guys, and you're right. Like I thought, I watch every game twice, right? I'll watch it in the of course, when it's live, and then I'll do my match reaction and all that stuff, and that's just pure emotion, right? And then I'll watch it either later that night or the next day when I've settled down, and I can just analyze what I see out there, right? Put my tactical helmet or hat on and all that stuff, and when I watched it back, I was like, it was a high risk, high reward type of game plan from Rosenior, right? Him coming from Strasbourg, he's very familiar with Enrique. He's very familiar with PSG. So he knows and he's been somewhat successful. Like I think before that, he had faced them 3 times. He had won 1, drawn 1, and lost 1. So that, against the likes of PSG, that's a pretty decent return for a club in Strasbourg that, I'll be honest with you, not many of us even heard about until Chelsea bought them 3-4 years ago, right? So no disrespect to any of my Strasbourg fans that are subscribed or on here. We still love you. We still pump millions and millions into your club. So don't get too mad at us, even though I know they hate everything about Blueco. But guess what, Strasbourg fans, we hate Blueco too. So we can come together in that united hate. But yeah, it was watching it back. I was like, what could have been, right? Had we, you mentioned before about game management, had we just managed it when we were at 2-2, even 3-2, right? Because the goal that we let up, right? The keeper passes it directly to Vitinha. Vitinha chips him, and then we just capitulate after that. I thought that if we would have just seen it out at 3-2, professional, just take our foot off the gas, put on maybe some more controllers, Lavia, Santos, Sugo, just to kind of clamp down the midfield. I thought there would have been a really good possibility of us going through at Stamford Bridge, where we've been bad in the league at Stamford Bridge, but we've been good in the Champions League. But 5-2 on aggregate down, I think it's way too much of an amount. I think we'll score goals on them in the second leg, but there's no chance that we will keep the ball out of our own net.
That's the thing,
with the keeper that we have, with the center backs that we have. So it's going to be interesting because we've got it's a tough week, right? You get Barcelona. So you get PSG midweek. We had Aston Villa. We had Wrexham. Aston Villa, Wrexham in the cup, PSG, and then Newcastle. And this one is, for us, it's of the utmost importance, right? Because we're in a constant battle every week, every fixture. The Champions League spots sort of move, right? One week Liverpool drops points and we're up the 4th, or we're up the 5th, and then the next week we drop points, we're down in 6th and stuff like that. And we're all trying to catch United, who's playing 40 games in the season, and we're trying to catch Villa, who's kind of ahead of us. So it's a big one coming up. What about for you guys? How do you guys see this in terms of the importance of this, or is it, do you think you'll have one eye forward to the Barcelona game, or?
I think we're gonna have one eye on the Barcelona game, simply because we're it's level pegging at the moment, and from the players' perspective, get to play in a new camp and whatnot. That might be, it's only natural to think, looking forward that you don't want to get injured and stuff like that. But, and also, if you look at the manager's comments as well, before the Barcelona game started, he said our season depended on this Champions League tie. Yeah. So not only for respectability, to be respectable into the season, but also financially as well. Yeah, because the amount of money you get per win that.
So much money.
Exactly. And if you look at our league position, all right, we're 5 points off 7th, but realistically, I don't think, given the fact who we've got to play before the end of the season ends, I don't think we're going to make Europe.
Who do you guys have? Obviously, you've got us, so away to Stamford Bridge.
We've got away to Arsenal. We still got to play away to Fulham.
Okay.
We've got to play. We're home to West Ham, but West Ham need the points.
West Ham's fighting. Yeah.
And they beat us at St. James's last season as well. And I forgot who else we've got to play. I can't remember who else we've got to play. We've already played Villa twice. We've already played City, played Liverpool. We'll finish.
It seems like you guys have played City like 10 times this year already. Like I feel like every other week it's Newcastle versus City.
Man, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I'm glad to see the end of them now, the back of them. But yeah, we've got a fairly tough run in. We still got the derby, the Sunderland game next week. Going to So
is that at the Stadium of Light, or is that?
No, that's in Newcastle.
Oh, that's right, because the first one was at the Stadium. Yeah. But
that'll
be a big one too.
It's a big one.
It used to be growing up and I'll say the mid to late 2000s when Sunderland was up, right? Like Roy Keane, the manager, and those guys. I used to love that fixture. The Tyneside derby. That was the what's it called? Tottenham and Arsenal get all the pundits, but it's not it's not physical like the
it's
Tyneside
not
derby.
that
That
kind
one's
of
just
This
real
one
men.
is like, don't you dare lose this game. It's like that kind of stuff. I'm going up there to watch it. Yeah, go ahead.
So do you think, because I think we had one eye towards Newcastle as well, right? Like we subbed off João Pedro, we subbed off Cole Palmer, they were carrying some injuries early in the season, but we've been kind of trying to manage their minutes, partly because the club has left us in such a bad state from a depth perspective that we don't have a good backup striker. We don't have a backup 10 at all. So we need those guys to push on in the league. So how do you think Eddie Howe is going to approach this one in terms of the lineup and rotation? Because I'll be honest with you, when I see Newcastle and I'm like, I always try to predict other big clubs lineups, and I'm like, I don't know who you guys are going to start up top. I'd imagine Voltemata might come back in, but then again, I don't know.
This is the strange thing, because obviously Anthony Gordon didn't start midweek due to illness, right? So he came on towards the end. So in my eyes, Eddie Howe will probably want to give him a few minutes to start in, maybe 60 minutes, and then take him off to rest him for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Voltemata didn't see the pitch on midweek. Yeah. So he was ill. Was he ill? No, he was. I think he missed it through illness.
Yeah, I know. I heard that you guys had some kind of illness going through the camp for the Barcelona game.
Yeah, but I think he might have been on the bench. I can't remember what it was. But either way, whether he comes back in, if he does, I don't expect to see him play up front. I think he's going to put him in the 8 again, which to me, I mean, it's because do you play our strongest midfield, which is Tonali, Joe Linton, and Ramsey, right? Which, if you really want to get something from the game, I think you should, right? But then, if you've got one eye on
Barca, then might want to keep one of those guys out.
One of them, like Joe Linton, whatever, keep him fresh, whatever, stuff like that. So that the midfield I can't predict, right? Mm-hmm. Even up front, I expect Gordon to start up front. I expect Harvey Barnes to be on the left, but on the right hand side, I think Murphy comes back in and Langer plays against Barcelona. So I think Murphy will come in. And in the back line, Tino's back now and he needs minutes. So I think he will start. Okay. Lewis Hall, he don't seem to get rested anyway, right? So
coming back to the bridge. Okay.
Yeah.
They'll get okay receptions. Like nobody will boo them there.
No animosity there, I think so. And then you've got the Ramsdale will start in goal, and I think you'll have like Malik Chow will start because he just don't seem to get rested. And then you've got I think Botman might come in and rest Dan Burn. That's what but it depends. It will tell me how much Eddie Howe is prioritizing the league once I see that lineup. Yeah, because I think he's gonna rotate quite a bit. Yeah, and then go strong against Barcelona.
So Ramsdale, is he your number one now over Nick Pope?
Well, until he starts making any glaring errors, because Pope, there was no way he could continue with Nick Pope. Nick Pope was costing us so many points.
You got used to that. Sounds like us. You could replace Pope and Ramsdale with Sanchez and Jorgensen.
Yeah,
it would be two cheeks of the same bone.
We both exactly. We both need new keepers in the summer. But Ramsdale allows us to play a different way. You know, he's more comfortable with the ball at his feet. Yeah, build from the back and stuff like that. The defense has a bit more confidence, giving the passing the ball back to him. So, in that respect, because let's be honest, we're both of them will concede goals, isn't it? They're going to concede goals, but it's what Ramsdale gives you that Pope doesn't. So
Ramsdale's got that big. He's been in pressure situations before with Arsenal. He knows, he's been through. He's been in the England camp and things like. Even though Nick Pope's been in the England camp too, so I'm curious too because we're going to be in the same boat, sort of in terms of rotation, and I don't think we'll rest anybody for Barcelona because I think the importance is on top 5 Champions League, and had the scoreline been a little bit closer in the first leg, that maybe we would have mixed up a little bit. But to be honest with you, we can't afford to rotate too much because it sounds crazy, right? After $2 billion spent, we just don't have the players to rotate apart from the midfield. The midfield is the only positional group that we have right now that is at 100%. Like everybody is fit. So Caicedo's there, Enzo's there, Lavia's fit, Asugo's fit, Santos, and then even Reece James can kind of step into the midfield too. But everywhere else, there's Esteval's out. Gittins is supposed to be available off the bench, but you're probably looking at the likes of, it's definitely going to be Palmer on the right. It's definitely going to be JP up top. It's going to be Garnacho on the left, Caicedo, Enzo, the fullbacks. And then the defense is where it gets a little bit interesting, right? So the fullback will probably be Reece James, right back. Left back, I don't know, because Cucurella just came back from injury. He played 90 at PSG, so it might be Hato. But the center backs and the goalkeeper, I have no idea. They asked Rosenior in the press conference early this morning, and they said, who's your number one? And he said something that I've never heard a manager say in terms of, it's our goalkeeper situation depends on who we play. And for me, that's like, that was a paraphrase. So don't kill me in the comments about that. But that's a crazy situation to be in when you're in the business end of the season and everything is on the line, right? We're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We're in the round of 16 in the Champions League, and we're fighting tooth and nail for top 5. And we don't know who our goalkeepers are because Sanchez is making mistakes. Jorgensen's making mistakes. Our center backs are making mistakes. So I'd imagine you'll probably see one of our youngsters in there. You'll probably see Sarr, who we got back on from Strasbourg. He won the he's not bad, but we haven't seen too much of him, and we definitely haven't seen him versus a good side like Newcastle, and a side that can cause us problems physically. Although if you go with that lineup of like that fluid front three, you won't hurt us in terms of crosses from open play, but defending set pieces with those monsters that you have in the back.
Yeah, that could be
6'12" Dan Burn and Thiago, who's pretty good in the air. And then maybe even Botman, if Botman plays, or those kind of guys. Because we can't defend set pieces. We're pretty good scoring set pieces, but defensively on set pieces, everything is a shambles, from our marking, from the physicality of our center backs, from the positioning of our goalkeeper. And you know how it is nowadays in the Prem, right? It's Royal Rumble in the box. Yeah. They don't let you do that in Europe, right? Which is refreshing to see. Like I enjoyed this midweek, even though we got thumped. I enjoyed watching referees take control of all the shenanigans in the box.
Yeah, you're right.
We're always on the catch up, and we're always, talking with SB and catch about how dirty Arsenal plays in the box and things like that. But take the shamelessness out of it. That's how everybody in the Prem plays nowadays.
Exactly.
You crowd the keeper. You try to push him off his line a little bit, and you just try to give him a little bit to think of, and you know that the refs are going to give you a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, which is crazy because growing up, everything was about protecting the keeper. If the keeper got touched, then it was a foul immediately.
Yeah.
Now
from one way to the other.
Yeah, so it was a complete paradigm shift. But yeah, it's the lineups. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what Rosenior picks in the lineup in this. We'll play the same way. Whoever he picks, we're going to play out the back. We're going to take risks with the goalkeeper and building out the back, which I think if you guys press us high will cause us problems. Now, last time when we played you guys at St. James's Park, you pressed us a little bit high. We went over the top, right? We remember the João Pedro goal where he chests it down and he beats and kind of scores like a Drogba-esque type goal, right? Controlling it and kind of using a little bit of muscle and then a little bit of noose to do it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. How do you think Eddie Howe is going to approach us in terms of setup?
I think he'll go with a 4-3-3. I think he will try to press you, put the pressure on from the front, pressure on the front. I think when we're trying to absorb pressure, I think he's going to go into a back five. I think he'll try to do that and then try to hit you on the break. And again, it depends on the lineup itself. But I don't think we're going to go. I think we'll probably start better. Start a better team. Try get an early goal.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, what he tends to do is he goes for the jugular for the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then he conserves energy for the last 20 minutes of the half. Then he goes again in the second half and tries to conserve at the back. So it's very the formula is very much the same. But if you don't score first, and my worry is, you rested Pedro and Palmer, you took them off.
Yeah.
Those are the two players that will always turn up against us. So we've got a problem trying to contain them. So especially containing technical players that like to drop deep and in the spaces.
Yeah.
We find it very difficult to pick those kind of players up. So we'll try to keep it solid. We'll try to outmuscle you, definitely.
I don't think you'll try to. I think you will outmuscle. I think you will outmuscle us. I know that for like not only in the midfield, but also, like you said, Dan Burn. And I think what we'll do is we'll try to draw Dan Burn. If Dan Burn is in there, we'll try to draw him into the midfield and then maybe try to play behind him.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. I think Dan Burn should be on the plane to the US in the World Cup.
Listen, he's having a very good season. And on the form, I agree with you. But what you said about drawing him out, I think I was at the game, I think it was last season when you beat us 2-1, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was your tactic. You drew him and Fabian Schär out of the defense.
Yeah.
I don't know why we fell for the bait, but then both your goals, you hit us. When one of the defenders is like in the halfway line, like, or in your box. I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's basically, I could see from a mile off, but for some reason we just kept on falling for it. But that's what you probably tried to do again at 100%.
So we talked about, the players, we talked about some of the key matchups. Let's talk about the elephant in the room in terms of the managers, right? Your manager's under pressure. My manager just got here, but he's lost 4 games. He's lost 3 times to Arsenal and then 1 time to PSG. So the context behind that is he lost to the reigning UCL champions, and then the current Premier League leaders, and then the current favorites to win the UCL this year. Although both of us, I think we can confidently say we don't want either of those to happen, right? But talk to me about the mood around Eddie Howe. Do you think it's one of those things where it's like, thank you for the Carabao Cup, thank you for what you've done, but you've gotten us to what we think your ceiling is, and we need that person to, take us from here and go up to here. What are your thoughts on Eddie Howe?
So my personal thoughts is exactly what you said, right? Yeah. So I rate the guy for everything that he achieved with us. He was my first choice pick when we got the takeover happened. I actually wanted Eddie Howe, right? And he has exceeded even my expectations, because to get a trophy and to get Champions League qualifications twice in 4 seasons, that can't be sniffed at.
Has he been there 4 years?
4 years, yeah. Okay, this is 4.5 years, right?
So he's got to be probably the third most tenured manager, right? Pep, Arteta, and then him.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah. So, 5th place finish, 4th place finish, a cup final, and then a cup win. That can't be. And we missed out on Europa League because Man United won the FA Cup when we finished 7th. Yeah.
So, they screwed us with that too. Goddamn Man United, man.
Exactly. But phenomenal achievement, right?
Yeah.
But there comes a point in time when you have to take a step back and look at it and say, right, this has been great.
Yeah.
Do we see signs of progression at this present time? Because the gripes I have with him, first of all, is that both times we've qualified for Europe, we struggle in domestically. So you haven't really learned how to manage the two. And people say, oh, well, the squad's not big enough. Well, I'm sorry. When the season started, forget all the rejections that we had. When we got our players in, we had 1 player, so 2 players for every position going into the season. Yeah. Injuries are part and parcel of it, right? Now, the main problem is he doesn't know how to control games. If you're going to play 60-odd games a season, you cannot do this 100-mile-an-hour intense style all season.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to control games. And to his credit, he tried it a little bit at the start of the season to go a bit slower control. But the problem is we don't have the players to do that,
Yeah.
right? And the reason why we don't have the players to do that is because he only signs a certain caliber of player. He likes Premier League proven, energetic athletes. Yeah. He doesn't like creative based players. Now, if you look at it, since he's come here, the only two players I can say that he guaranteed were his buys were Kieran Trippier, Dan Burn, Nick Pope, Anthony Gordon, Tino Livramento, and Lewis Hall. Right? There's some
hits in there, but then there's some misses too. Yeah.
To be fair, a lot of them have been hits. Most of them have been hits. Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
Tino and Hall, exceptional.
Yeah.
Trippier, leader, I get it. And don't go on, the rest have served the purpose.
Yeah.
But they're very limited in their skill set. Right?
Yeah.
So they serve a purpose for a time.
Yeah.
The likes of Tonali, Isak, Bruno, they weren't Eddie Howe signings. They weren't. Yeah.
Were they more club signings?
Club signings, right?
Yeah.
The first thing he did when he got here was get rid of St. Maximin. Yeah. Really quick. So for Anthony Gordon. Yes, it worked out, but now teams know how to play against us. If you notice, what teams do is like, all right, the bigger teams, they'll try to dominate us. The lesser teams, what they will do is they'll give us the ball and say, break us down. Yeah. We cannot break down a low block to save our life, right?
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's more on the managerial instructions, or do you think that's more on the quality of player, like in terms of because it feels like everybody in the league sort of struggles against low blocks, like even Man City, even Arsenal.
They struggle, but they create chances. You've got Cole Palmer, you've got João Pedro. City have got Cherky, you know what I mean? They've got Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
Liverpool got Florian Wirtz. Yeah. Man United got Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
You know, we have nobody. Ours is Bruno Guimaraes, ours of it, but as good as he is, he's not known as the creative player.
Creator. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the profile that we've got and the way we play. We play this, our style of play is give it to the wing and see if they can beat him, do a 1-2 and spam it into the box.
Yeah.
That's our play. We can't do anything down the middle. And it's the basic management that Eddie Howe, he lacks that tactical flexibility. He's too reactive instead of proactive. Yeah. When you see, when we played Man City the other day, after 10 minutes, Pep saw something wasn't working. He changed Ryan's position. They blew us away. Too many managers do that against us. Yeah. We seem to the old team that we see when things are not working.
Yeah.
But we do the same thing, predictable subs on 60 minutes, like for like, and think things are going to be different. So we need to see, I want to see evolution. Yeah. Got nothing against the guy, but in my preference, I hope that he sees out in the season and said, you know what, taking as far as I can, let's move on. I don't know who I want to replace him, but that's for the board to decide.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that when you talk to the average Newcastle fan, especially in Newcastle, they won't have a bad word said against Eddie Howe. You know what I mean? It's everybody else's fault. It's the board's fault. It's the players' fault. He can do no wrong. Yeah,
really.
He saved, and I get it. Where we came from, you know, we've got this. You know, he suits our club in terms of his he gets it. He gets Newcastle. You know what I mean? And I hear it, but where are the standards? You know, what is the expectation? Are you happy to be this yo-yo club? You know, qualify for Europe, don't qualify for Europe, lose our best players. You know what I mean? When do you want to that see a different approach? You know, no risk, no reward. So
do you think so if you what type of manager would you be targeting if you were, like, say you had that decision, you had that role? Are you looking for somebody that plays a little bit more expansive football? Are you looking for somebody that's a little bit more, because I always looked at Eddie Howe as not the greatest tactically, but a very good, like, you know what his style is, you know what you're going to get with him. Like those Bournemouth teams that he had, like they used to cause us big problems. Like Callum Wilson, who somehow made his way over to Newcastle for a little bit and then could never stay fit. And then now all of a sudden has played like 25 games this year for West Ham. You know what it is? He's got that clause in his contract that says for every match you play, you get a certain amount of so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna eat right. I'm gonna train and all that stuff. But do you want someone that's a little bit more expansive, that plays a little bit more tactically savvy? Is that what you're like? What you kind of envision is where the next step of Newcastle, the club is?
Yeah, I'd like to see someone, whether they're a young manager or experienced manager, someone who's a bit more tactically savvy, like you said, a bit more flexible with their approach. Try when something's not working, try something different, and play someone who can control games and attract players that can put their foot on the ball and dictate the play a little bit. You know what I mean? Because 99% of games we have the least possession, and when we have the most possession, we do nothing with it. Yeah. So I want someone who's going to bring something different to the players and bring a different profile of players to the club and just try something different. It might not work. Yeah. It might not work, but again, you don't know until you try.
Yeah. Scare money don't make money.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So yeah, someone who's willing to be different, a range of tactics. You know, doesn't always play one way. Can mix it up, you know what I mean? Just someone bring a bit more different, man. Something different to us.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, because I'd imagine if you guys go, say you finish seventh or eighth, what the mood around the club will be. Will that be considered a good? So you can say you were out in the last round in the FA Cup to City. Carabao Cup, you lose to Villa.
No, we lost to City again.
City again. City. So in that sense, it's like it's the luck of the draw or the unluck of the draw, if that's even a saying. But then you've got you qualified to the last 16 in the Champions League. You've again unlucky in the draw and joining Barcelona. For you guys, it was either Barcelona or PSG. So it's like pick your poison.
Exactly.
And then in the league, say you finish 7th, 8th, maybe you get a push for 6th, although that would probably take a lot for like a Chelsea or a Villa to sort of come down. But anything's possible in the business end of the season, like you mentioned before. You've got tricky games. Then you run up against teams like West Ham, who are fighting for their life. I'd say Spurs, but Spurs, I don't think they should be fighting for their life, but they're not putting up too much of a fight.
Trouble.
They're in big trouble, which is, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna be sad to see him go, because that's 6 points that we.
That's what a lot of people say, bro. 6 easy points.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the mood around the club is in terms of expectations. How do we gauge the expectations and past performance for the year that we just played? So yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about that in the offseason for you guys. But for us, I don't know. It's been, look, every season for us is a roller coaster, right? And then this year, New Year's, I think it was New Year's Day or January 2nd where Maresca, he left. So we're losing our manager. Then we bring in even a more inexperienced manager in Rosenior mid-season. And then how it is when you get new managers in, right? Everybody gets a clean slate, where mid-season you don't want to hear any of that, right? Because you don't want everybody to have a clean slate. Like, we don't want to see the likes of Toon. We don't want to see the likes of Badia Shield. We feel like we know who should be playing and who shouldn't be playing, because we're fans, right? We all of us think that we're we know 3-0 against Barcelona at the new camp and stuff like that, right? We love ourselves, but with us, it's like I have no idea, because the Arsenal games, so twice in the Carabao Cup, the league game, and then this last game versus PSG with the goalkeeper change and with the sort of, some folks will say, suicide tactics. The mood around Rosenior right now is not very pleasant based off of that, which is, to me, is crazy, because the situation he inherited, the squad that he inherited, what he's done with us, right? We were 6th or 7th when he came, and it was fluid, right? Like, we weren't far off a 3rd, far off a 4th.
Yeah.
But he's got us in 5th. He won some big games in the in the Champions League, Napoli away on the last day to get us into the automatic qualification, top 8. Got us into the what should be a semifinal of the FA Cup, since we've got Port Vale. He's got us into the semifinal of the Carabao Cup. He's got us higher in the league. I think we're in 5th now. We've done well in the league, apart from the Arsenal, and we had 2 draws versus Leeds and Burnley. So he's not done terribly, and considering the expectations around him, but there's no, I would say in the Premiership, there's no managerial spot that's as unsafe as a Chelsea boss, right? Like, and it doesn't matter who the owner is, right? Everybody thinks that that was our motto under Roman. We've done the same thing under Bluco. The only difference is Bluco doesn't get the world-class managers that Roman got, right? Roman would sack an Ancelotti, and then he'd get a Conte, he'd get Mourinho back. We're sacking Maresca. We sacked Tuchel, we got Potter. We sacked Potter, we got Maresca from Leicester. We sacked Maresca, and then we got Rosenior from our So it's like, and I don't like it, but I understand this is the trend in Europe with the hipster manager, the tactics, playing out the back. Like I'm old school, right? Like I like going long to relieve pressure. Sometimes I even I'm like bring back the 4-4-2 where you get two center forwards to deal physicality, right? That's where the league is going. That's where I want to see Chelsea going. That's when we were at our best. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he's under a lot of pressure. Some of his quotes, people take them the wrong way, and they you know how the English media is. You know even more so than I am, me being based in the States and you being based over there in London, and it's unforgiving. It's unrelentless. They will take whatever your words say and they will twist it.
Their own narrative,
especially being a black manager too, it's even the sensitivities around it, it's even more, right? And so it's like, I want him, of course, I want every Chelsea manager to succeed and to do well, because that means that the club will do well. But for him, and I'll be honest with you, completely 100% biased, because he's a black manager, I want him to even do even more better, right? Because I think we need more representation in the league, right? And even though we were putting my history hat on, even though we were the first club in the Premiership with Ruud Gullit to have the first black manager and stuff like that, but there needs to be more opportunities and more chances given to, and there's qualified candidates out there. So
100%.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll see. But let's wrap it up and let's do a little bit of predictions. I'll put as the guest of the channel, right? D-Man's his channel description, his link is in the chat or is over there. So folks, please go over there, subscribe, like, comment. I'm gonna turn it over to you, even though you are the away team, the visiting team. I will give you the honors of making the first prediction.
You know what? Given the fact that our away record isn't good, and our away record at your ground is horrible. Yeah. The last time I think we won was Papi Cisse with the wonder goal.
Outside of the boot from the left. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Him and Demba Ba.
Yeah.
Cisse was on smoke that season.
Oh, 100. Listen, he was unstoppable.
Yeah, he was. Man.
But you know what? And listen, I was a bit shameless on catch up in it, because I said we're going to win 2-1 in it. I had to in it. I'd say we're going to win 2-1. But
sometimes you get caught up in the emotion over there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You just 100%. Say whatever, and then you're like.
But realistically, I think simply because you tend to turn up against the bigger clubs. Yeah. I think you've got a tendency to let it slip against some of the lower league opposition. And right about now, that's us at the moment. So for keeping it honest. So I'm going to say we're going to get a 1-1. I think we'll get a 1-1.
I could very, very easily see that. I think what was it? It was 2-2 at St. James's Park, right?
Yeah.
And it was from what I remember, it was a pretty even contest. It was like, I felt like the 2-2 was a deserved. It was I don't believe in this is the you guys deserve to get a point, but it was the fair result, right? It was a good representation of how the match flow was and how the state of the game was and things like that. So I could definitely see. I could see that. I'm gonna say on my side, I'm gonna say we just edge it 2-1, just based off of. I think you guys will have, and I think Eddie Howe will have one eye, if this even makes sense, one eye more forward than Rosenior will to your midweek Champions League game. So I don't think you will play your strongest lineup. I think we will play our strongest lineup because we have to win.
Yeah, you need the points more.
And even though you guys got an extra day of rest, and you have an extra day of rest on the back end. So maybe that comes into play, right? Because we're going Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. You guys went Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, which, come on, do us a favor. Come on.
I
felt like this game should have been, but then I guess they couldn't put it on a Sunday because we played Tuesday. But it's that time of the year where games fixtures just like we've been playing 2 games a week for months. We're gonna need this international break coming up. I don't know about you guys. Bruno G is definitely out, right?
Yeah, he's definitely out. He's not back to after, but he's going to travel to Barcelona, but he's not going to be in the squad after international break. He's back, but we played the most games out of everybody this season. So
really,
yeah. So we need a break as well. But I hear you.
I think next season it's going to be. I think we're going to see players. Hopefully, knock on wood, because we don't wish injury on anybody, but you're going to see players with the World Cup this summer. And then remember, the World Cup is an expanded format this year for more teams. And then I'm going to be honest with you, summertime in the U.S., depending on where some of some of the games are in the U.S., some of the games are in Mexico, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, the breaks and that. Yeah.
Like 90. I don't know what the conversion is in Celsius, but in where I live outside the DC area in the summertime, it's regularly 90 degrees with 70% humidity. So it's so it's going to be a lot of hydration breaks and things like that. So teams will have to do it. But next year is going to be, these guys, they're getting run into the ground. But I'm going to go 2-1. Not even on the shameless thing. I think we just edge it because I think we play a little bit stronger of a lineup than you guys. But I think it's going to be a good game. We're definitely not going to play you guys off the park. I don't think you guys will play us off the park. I think it's going to be contested. Hopefully we can keep all 11 guys on the pitch, because we've had a propensity this year for getting guys sent off. And at any particular moment, we can do a moment of madness. But D-Man, I got to say, big up to you for coming on the channel. Big up, as always, folks. Again,
anytime, man.
His channel is in the description. It's going to be in the description. What you got coming up on your channel? I know you're going to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, so going to the game on tomorrow. So I'll do a quick prediction and then a quick review afterwards. I've also got my other channel, Native Mag, so we'll review that game on Sunday. But that's what I've got coming up. And then I got a radio station every Saturday, 10 till 12. 95.5 on Top FM. We'll talk football for 2 hours, so we'll be looking forward to the game, reviewing the Champions League games as well. So man,
getting paid to talk football, that's not a bad way to earn a living, right? People always say when you grow up you want to do something that you love, and D-Man is living representation of putting that into fruition. So again, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Anytime, man.
We'll talk on the catch up, and depending on how the results go, D-Man could be shameless on there. If things go Newcastle's way, I could hold, and that means I hold smoke, or it could happen vice versa. But either way, folks, somebody, unless it ends in a draw, somebody's gonna have to hold this L and catch a little bit of smoke. But as always, folks, make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.
Hey.